nouveau à Minneapolis. Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agence de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agence de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agence de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir. Hot mixing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are back on now with our second guest that we are going to be bringing on shortly. And this is a huge victory. With the election that is going on, this is one of our candidate that has been participating in the past couple of months as a city council for Brooklyn Park. He is now the elect city councilman in the Brooklyn Park community, and his name is Boyd Morson. So we're going to bring on Boyd Morson to give us a little introduction of who he is again, and also continuing on what are his plans now as a city councilman of Brooklyn Park. Let's welcome on Boyd Morson. We are well. Congratulations. This is a great victory. Amazing. We're so proud of you. We are so proud of you. I remember last time we had you here and we were talking about all the plans you had and what are your roles and the things you are planning to do as a city councilman. Go ahead and start with introducing yourself, and then we'll get on to a little bit more about that. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yes. Uncommon issues that we're dealing with right now, and the people have chosen and spoken and elected the people's choice, and the people's choice is none other than myself, and I'm truly grateful for all of you that supported me and looking to support me in the future as I continue to move forward to trying to become the most visible face, the most careful listener, the most credible voice, and a direct gateway to our legislators for all of our city resources and our future in our particular community.
Amazing, amazing. So now that you are the council-elect, tell us a little more, how's that process going so far, and what are your plans going forward?
Well, the process is moving along. I won't be seated until January the 4th, but my plans are still moving forward as I have with the city. I'm just still gathering them to implement them so the residents of Brooklyn Park can see what I'm doing, and I'm still not even in office. Although I laid some foundations before, these are some more aggressive and ambitious ideas that I have for Brooklyn Park to begin to build a bridge that unites us, that allows free access for anybody that don't have to look like me, be where I'm from, speak my same language, or even share my same thoughts. But there's an opportunity to give us that opportunity to feel welcome and invited and included here in Brooklyn Park. And that's what I'm most excited about doing.
Wow. That is a huge transition there. So tell us a little bit more about what should we look forward to starting January 4th? What are some of the things our audience can hear, or what are your plans and things that we should know moving forward?
Well, I'm gonna tackle the issues the uncomfortable issues that people don't want to talk about regarding policing in our community. Not defunding police, but transforming and reforming police with this blueprint that I put out that get us back to good community policing. Also look for ways to unite our community, to make sure every community within our community are feel welcome in our particular city, free from any restrictions or preconceived concepts or stereotypes. We want everybody to feel welcome to begin to write new stories and tell new stories about how we came together, work together, and build a Brooklyn Park that's ready and acceptable for all of us to live, raise a family, worship, play, do business, and all those type of things. So I'm pretty excited to get down to it. So to unite our community, that's what my main focus is.
That is wonderful. So when you say to unite our community, I know now we have a lot of, division going on, not just Minnesota. I mean, of course, across the whole United States, with the major election that is still in process right now. What can the community expect as far as uniting the community? How can we have both sides that are liberal and conservative come back together and work together as a community to better the community and to grow?
Well, first of all, what I would do is get rid of liberal conservatives, Democrats and Republicans. I would get rid of all those labels because that's something that we choose to do. I just want us to face reality that we are people and human beings. So what we need to do as human beings, as people, is to let down our guards to become people and human beings. What's better than having a good Saturday morning with nothing but softball, with all the people coming together with your families to give us something to do, to sit out there on a Saturday morning, a Saturday afternoon, just playing all day long with everybody, just having a good fun day of softball or things of this nature that unites our community, the fun things that we do to unite our community. What better way that I'm working on a program right now to have us do our first annual Christmas carol at City Hall. Wow. We're bringing in all diverse religions to come together to sing Christmas carols at the City Hall, to begin to unite us, to let everybody know this is who we are here in Brooklyn Park. So these are some things that I'm working on. I'm thinking of working on something called emergency resident responders. One thing people don't realize is that in the midst of this global pandemic that we face right now, hospitals are becoming overcrowded with beds, and beds are no longer available. Brooklyn Park does not have a hospital for us to even have one bed. So we have to do things to proactively take care of our own. So I have this thing called emergency resident responder, where it's going to be comprised of nurses from Liberia, Sierra Leone, and nurse associations of doctors in our community that are emergency ready responders to attend to the needs of Brooklyn Park. So this is an ambitious undertaking, but also it's something that we need for all people to come together to let us know to take care of our own people here in Brooklyn Park in the moments of crisis, disasters, or pandemics spread. So we need to make sure that we're looking out for the everyday common people here in Brooklyn Park. And this is what I'm excited to do. And I have many, many plans to unite our community. So I'm excited about it.
Well, we all definitely want that unity and those good old days where we can all accept our differences, enjoy the moments, have holidays and things like that. Of course, with the pandemic playing out right now, I love the idea that you have about the Christmas Carol coming up. So it still keeps some of that joys going on in our lives as well. And so with the pandemic, now that we're in fall and there's large numbers of cases rising based on what we see on the world meter data. And I know they've been talking about, the Black community and the minority community that are being hit the most with COVID-19. What can you tell us a little bit more about that? Is it the fact that we are very, very vulnerable to the coronavirus and that when the vaccine comes out, it's going to be the first community that's going to get it? And how can they believe and accept the vaccine as well?
Well, Boyd has Boyd's opinion. And all my life, I haven't known or found research that any particular bug that's out there is targeting towards people of color. That's the crazy part to me, or the frustrating part to me. And I'm saying that to say, if a mosquito bites you, it's going to bite you and it's going to affect you anyway. It's going to affect anybody else.
Yes.
So they carry a virus and it bites you and you become infected with that virus. So it's not specific to a race. It's
Mm-hmm.
delivering a virus and or an infection that affects anybody in any type of way. So when you have a virus that specifically has an impact on a specific race,
Mm-hmm.
that sounds like that something was created to void. It doesn't sound like it's something that was just one of Mother Nature's things is out there. It sounds like that was something specific. We have to look more closely into that. If it's something that's going to impact us specifically, how does that virus know that it can attack people of color more specifically and more readily? And
Mm-hmm.
even though it is saying that, we as people of color need to do what we need to do every moment's notice and mask up like we're supposed to.
Yep.
You know, we need to make sure we're protecting ourselves as
Mm-hmm.
well as other people. So we have to make sure that we don't become one of those statistics in this coronavirus situation that our guards are let down and we become most vulnerable and subjected to contracting this particular incurable disease. And I don't know many people yet who's ready to take that vaccination either. I
Mm-hmm.
won't be one standing in that line. I'm gonna just tell you right now.
Wow. Yeah, the reason I brought that up because there are a lot of, controversial issue where the media are portraying that it is the blacks and the minorities that are very vulnerable and that they're going to be the first to get the vaccine. So we wanted to get the truth out there. As you say, we're all human beings. Any of us could be affected. And also, when the vaccine comes, it doesn't, the virus never picked a certain race that it wants to take out, because we're all human beings and it's a common sense that, we are going to follow procedures like the face mask you just demonstrate and social distancing and all of those things as well. So I'm really glad you pointed that out because then it's going to give our blacks and minority a comfort to know that, this is something that affects all of us. Okay.
That's
and when the vaccine comes out, I don't know too much details about the vaccine, that it's not going to be forced and it's an optional. It's optional for people to take as well. Give us a little bit more detail. I don't know if you know any more information about the vaccine being an optional and that you don't have to take it right away, or you can even wait for it, or, if you trust it enough and you do your research, and that you would be okay to take it. What can you tell our people about the vaccine?
Well, from my understanding, is that when the vaccination comes out, they have from elderly to the most vulnerable, meaning with age, would be the first to contract it. Well, the first to get it would be medical staff to make sure that they are ready to endure the continual outbreak, so they'll be covered. So I don't knock that, but in making your decision, how do you, those that's in charge, equate or evaluate, determine what race of people, what gender of people, what class of people, or age of people be the first in line to get that? How you differentiate that?
Right.
That seems like that's a problem. If people of color are most vulnerable, why shouldn't people of color be the first people in line to get this vaccination for those that want to take it? If that's the case. So I have a problem with that if we're the most vulnerable, but we're the last on the list to get this vaccination. So that's a problem in itself. So I'm looking at other means and other ways of trying to be prepared for this. And I'm saying to everybody, if these masks is what it takes to prevent us from getting sick or contracting this, listen, it's just a mask. Put it on. Wear it. The life you save might be your own and that of somebody else's. Why wouldn't you want to save your fellow man as well as your own life? It's just a mask. Put it on. I don't have it on now because no one's around me where I'm at. But when I walk out, I don't have a problem putting this on. and taking it back off when I don't need it. I wore this all while we was campaigning, door knocking every single day to all those residents that I was out there protecting myself and protecting them as well. So it's nothing hard about it, is my opinion, although it's something that we're not used to. But there's a lot of things we're not used to. We're not used to being going through what we're going through this coronavirus either, but we're adjusting to it. We're trying to make adjustments.
That is right. Now I'm going to move on to where you mentioned a little bit about the policing. So has the division began with the whole policing and, with the rhetoric going around that, it is the Black men that are constantly being attacked by the white men. What are the changes we can expect to see to let people know that this is an America for both Black and white, and that we're going to work on reforming the police department, not getting rid of it completely because the community needs it as well? Or, you could go ahead and give us a little bit more information about the policing reform, or what are the expectations to change in that standard?
Well, what my blueprint looks like in community policing and transforming policing, Brooklyn Park need to live in, police need to live in Brooklyn Park. And this is not just applicable to Brooklyn Park. In my opinion, it should be governed by any city, and these are some of the principles. You need to live in that city that you're policing, number one. Number two, you need to have a psychological evaluation to make sure you still mentally prepared to become a police officer or remain a police officer. If not, we detected that earlier. Get out, change your profession so you won't harm yourself, your family, or the people that you're serving. Number three, you need to volunteer in that community so people get to know who those police officers in our community, and the community get to know the police as well. So vice versa. So if the police pulled me over and they volunteered, they would know who I am, and we have some familiarity with each other, so they won't be as intimidating or threatening in that pullover or that stop, because they know who Boyd is, and Boyd know who those officers are because they live in our community or they volunteer in our community. We also need to have a citizen review board that oversees all police disciplinary action. I don't believe that police can police police. We've seen the outcome of that. Hence George Floyd in Minneapolis, when Chauvin had 19 complaints. Somebody looked at those complaints 19 times and they still allowed him to be a police officer. So we don't need police officers policing police. We need a community body that looks and oversees the disciplinary actions of police. The next thing we need to do, we need to hire some mental health specialists that goes out on those mental health issues where police not dealing with mental health crisis, when they're not trained in those particular moments of challenge. The next thing we need to do, what's most important to me, is that police need to have their own personal liability insurance. Liability insurance lets them know, or lets us all know, that any event of any carelessness or negligence on behalf of that police officer, their insurance policy is going to have to pay for that, and not the taxpayers be responsible for something that we didn't do whatsoever. So it's unfortunate that a taxpayer got to assume the burden of paying out any lawsuit for that careless and negligent police officer who overstepped their bounds and was found guilty of what they was doing. And so we as taxpayers currently have to pay for that. So just like Minneapolis situation with George Chauvin, those taxpayers are going to have to pay for what George Chauvin did. But if they had to have their own personal insurance, just we have to have on our house, as we have to have on our own cars, as doctors have to have, as doctors and practicing medicine, they have to have their own insurance policy. I believe police officers need to have the same way. With that being done and said, we'll get rid of those police officers that don't want to pay that insurance policy, that don't want to follow the rules, and or subjected to being terminated by those insurance companies. So those insurance companies now are in control of who become and remain police officers by their conduct and behavior. And as we know, when we get an accident, your insurance go up. Same thing with a police officer. Any one of those violations you continue to have, your insurance premium is going to rise and rise and rise. And eventually, people ain't going to be able to afford that particular insurance. So that's protecting us as people. So these are just some of the things that I'm touching on as reforming and transforming police officers. as well as putting to serve and protect back on our police cars to let people know, to let police officers know that that's what their job is, to serve and protect and not just enforce the law.
Thank you for pointing those out. Now, to get back to, you mentioned earlier that you want to unite the community by getting rid of liberal and conservative. How do we, what can we expect about those changes? Because now we have this psychological warfare where the conservatives are being silenced for their own opinions and the liberals are saying that there's still a lot of racism going on and that we need to fight and rise above it. What plans do you have to work with those two different side ideology in order to bring them back in the middle, as the America we used to know?
Well, and again, the first thing we need to communicate effectively is that we all are people. We all are human beings. This is who we are before we was liberal, conservatives, Democrats, or Republicans. These things are programmed into us to be. I ran on not neither one of them platforms, not Democrat or Republican. And let me share something with you. The person that I ran against, he was endorsed by the DFL. He was endorsed by the mayor, 3 members of city council, the Brooklyn Park Fire Department. He had a plethora of endorsements. I didn't have not one endorsement with the exception of God, the man upstairs, and all the people. The only endorsements that I ever wanted was from the people, because it's the people that's important to me and not all those political parties, especially when you get down to local elections. When you get down to your local elections, we see how disconnected they are at the state and federal level, that Democrats and Republicans can't agree on anything. And let me just paint a picture for you guys and your viewers. If we allow Democrats and Republicans to come into our local elections and take us over, regardless of either party, they're going to control our local economy. They're going to control the attitudes of our neighborhoods. They're going to control your PTA meetings. They're going to begin to control all these things that we having problems with at our state and federal level. So we need to make sure we do not, in Boyd's opinion, look for somebody just because they're Democrat or Republican to come down in our local elections. That's something, because whatever they believe, liberally or conservatively, Democrat or Republican, our now local cities is going to be that way. It's going to be so bad that you're not going to want to talk to your neighbor no more because they're liberal or conservative or Democrat or Republican, and you don't want your child playing with them because of your ideology that you face. That's not a community. That's not a neighborhood. That's some type of rhetoric that they perpetuating in us because we adopted one of those particular issues. And boy, just not standing for that. We need to make sure we keep it all innocent and remain humane down here in our local elections. And this is what I'm looking to do, to let people know the people's voice is what matters. It's you, the people, whose voice count and matter, not a Democrat or Republican, because before we was either one of them, we were humane and we were people, who we still are, that we just gotten away from.
Those are really good points. Thank you for pointing them out. Now, in our last few minutes here, so one last question that I like to point out. What are your plans to better the minorities and the Black children in the community as well, to let them know that, you know, they're just as good as any other race, you know, or they can go to any school of their choice. What are your plans for that?
Well, you say they're just as good. They are just as good, or if not even better. So everybody needs to feel as though they're part of the fabric that we weave in here in our community. To welcome them, invite them, and include them in the process of what we have going on here, and to make people know that they got heart. They have compassion for people just like any other race does. We just need to make sure that we showcasing them in that same likeness, not trying to narrate a story for them or for our own newsworthiness. We need to make sure that everybody is shown in that same vein or that same likeness, to let everybody know that we still care. So I'm beginning to invite them to be part of the process, invite them to be part of the events that's going on in our city, and welcoming and rolling out the red carpet for them to become part of that, because their voice matters and they matter to me. Because I care, and the diverse population of people that we represent and that I represent, they matter. So these are some things that I'm working on, I'm focused on, And I'm really excited to put together because, again, all people really care about what happens in life. We just need to showcase them in the same vein. Back in the day, black people or any other cultures wasn't shown as being committed in your communities, and those type of things would make people believe we're not committed. We're just so far from the truth that it's unreal. So we need to begin to show them in positive ways in our community, and that's what Boy intention and purpose is solely on doing, to show us that we all are here as one united community, to give us all a pathway forward together as one united community. But I just can't do this by myself. It's up to you, Brooklyn Park, and the people in our community to become a part and do your part. I just can't do this by myself.
Thank you so much. These are wonderful information. So, of course, moving forward, we definitely want unity, and we all want to work together and know that this is America, where we can where we can grow, we can have freedom of speech, we can have holidays together, like good old days, I would probably say. And there's no difference, whether you're black or you're white. This is the country we know. Even the immigrants who are here as well, this is the country they know, and they probably, of course, they don't want to go back to their old countries, because of all of the lack of freedom or being able to grow or have potential to become somebody. And this country provides all of that. So, congratulations to you, and everything you have spoken so far is definitely a big win. It's a big win. So we will continue to do our part as well to keep sending out empowerment, encouragement, and also, sharing stories and our differences in how we can all grow and contribute in the community or society as well. So, Boyd Morris, I really appreciate you coming on today and, telling our audience what your plans are as a city councilman, and, continue to be better people all together, Black and white and minorities and immigrants. Is there a message you'd like to tell our audience before we close out? How can they follow you? So we could share some of your contents or updates, or if there's anything, resources or anything that the community would like to reach out to you for.
Just keep looking for me. Cause YouTube, I'm coming up with a lot of things, so you can follow me and listen to me. Follow me on Facebook at Morson for Mayor.
Okay.
And they can follow me. They can see a lot of things that have been introduced. I'm coming out with some more creative things, podcasts coming out, those type of things. So you can always follow me and listen to what's going on, and also participate in what's going on. I have some ambitious ideas, giraffe-sized visions. You can always be a part of it and follow me, because you know what? I'm asking all of you to be a part of what my vision is. I'm just a visionary, but it's going to take us all to make these things happen. So one thing that I want to leave with you as well, we call the United States of America. And the first word in that is called united. So united we stand, and together we fall. So today's times we are divided states of America. So I'm trying to heal us, to give us the opportunity to get back to where we used to be our brother's keepers, and to look out for our fellow man, as I did for this country. As I stepped up to serve you, your family in this country, I stepped up once again to serve you, your family in this city. And now I'm looking forward to even broaden my outreach to really represent an entire city. Not just the central district, but the entire city. So I got some more ambitious plans that's focusing and coming forward, as I might introduce myself as a candidate for mayor of Brooklyn Park for this upcoming election.
Yes, woohoo! Congratulations once again. We are so proud of you, and keep up the hard work. Thank you so much for coming on. So we're going to wrap it up from here, and we definitely wish you the best in your journey, and may God continue to be with you. All right.
Thank you. And may he be the same with you too. Thank you. And us all.
Have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thanks.
En santé. Retrouvez Yves Kenao sur Tempo Afrique TV, la station de l'éveil du continent africain.
Hello, My name is Jean Galgado, President and CEO of African Economic Development Solutions, a non-profit organization that serves African immigrants in Minnesota. AEDS provided a National African Immigrant Leadership Conference on December 10 and 11. We have an amazing speakers. If you have not registered for this conference, please register at www.aeds-mn.org. I hope to see you there. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Du nouveau à Minneapolis, Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.